3 in. Hey up, guys. What's up? All my hippies at the bar, ready for the day. Not me. Not you guys. Yeah. No, I'm like yesterday was. If you notice, I didn't even do my manicure. So, yeah, I'm all kind of out of sorts, as a matter of fact. Um, yeah, I've said already that I'm babysitting a pair of kittens for a good friend of ours. And you wouldn't think that adding two kittens to your house would be a major deal. That's wrong too. It is. My poor suffering husband. Yeah, trying to keep all of them fed. We have to feed the ones outside, the ones inside. And it's amazing too. I mean, bless his heart. I don't wake him to do that. I do it myself. But the cats in the backyard, and they come from all over the neighborhood when they see either the truck or the car, and they seem to know when we're both in one of the vehicles, and they literally will come running. So when I open the door in the back, I have to stand over like 15 cats, and this is a brick steps down. I think it's only two steps, but and it's concrete. And at my age, it's not a good thing to fall. Not to mention, my husband fusses at me and has a right to do so. Robert always says to me, "Why don't you give your phone? You never use the phone. You never take the phone. It's a portable phone." He's right. I mean, he's absolutely right. He's had me on. Back then they were just called mobiles, or cell phones. I think they're mobiles in the UK. In any event, and he started me off on a phone in 1990, for God's sake. And I didn't even get rid of the house phones until like 2001. And I was like, we've been paying this for like 4 years. Nobody's called. We haven't called. So to go. Back when Sprint was taking us for like 1,000 per phone. Literally, I still have the records. You just can't make that stuff. Now I've seen where the House of something Ways Committee or something. I like to pop in just to see what Congress is doing, and if there's more than 3 or 4 seats full. Generally, there's not. There's a couple up there, talking, but there's only 4 people out there. This is Congress. I've actually walked that room. I've been there, and it's massive. It's just totally massive. I forget. I think it's 250 in the House, and maybe the same number in the Senate. I can't quite remember. I don't like politics. And yes, when I lived out and I worked in DC, but I lived in Maryland, but I hit all the places. I had a good ex-mother-in-law. She was a good egg, and she made sure that I was well dressed. You could not dress unless it was like Gucci of today. Both hockey, trying to clean my act up a little bit. Although I do keep this where don't let your kids in. Yeah, you go through this first. Really, kids aren't going to like me anyway. They don't like me until they're like 11 or 12. And then they start to get interested in what the previous generation did. And that's when I kind of rope in kids. And I don't have to do much for them. I'm not good. My husband, every kid on the planet loves him. Every animal on the planet loves him. No doubt. I mean, they go straight for him on beeline, even if they're in their teenage years. Yeah. So he's good with kids. Me, not so much. I can lie about it, not so much. And yesterday he was trying to buzz me, and unless he's on live chat, I have to move stuff around. So I didn't bother to interrupt it, which was bad enough because then the coffee was spilled and I had to interrupt it anyway. I did. I swear to God, I went through edit last night just and pieced it together to you know move that 4 minutes out. I just thought, well, maybe they'll think that's funny because it's for entertainment purposes only. And you betcha I'll be here at the bar all week. It's my favorite place. It's my husband's bar, but he's been nice enough to let me get all my stuff up here. Um, he's still renovating the house, getting wood flooring in and painting in, and he's the only one. So he has to move up. We had a pod for 2 months where he had all the furniture in there downstairs, except the master bedroom, because he would work, a 70-hour week and maybe 2 weeks. Generally, he only got to come home like every 2 weeks for like 30 hours. And he's in there painting and, wouldn't let me do that. He wouldn't let me help. And he was right. I mean, he knows what problems I have with my back. And fortunately for me, he understands that I'm not yanking somebody's chain, because the first person that tells me that I'm going to pop right in the kisser. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I can see it now. News 6. Old woman knocks on doctor. freaking howling. So I asked him if he had seen anything. He had noticed the volcano that erupted in Italy, and for the life of it's not Vesuvius, it's the other one. Starts with an S. I could not remember it. Look it up. Uh, I say that a lot, don't I? I really wish people would do their own. This is why I don't drop videos. And now I'm talking too fast. I don't drop videos because it's almost like plagiarism to me as a published author. I wouldn't want them to be showing my book without my express permission. And so, I mean, if you could sell 100,000 copies. I don't care if you're doing it without my permission. I'm gonna hunt you down. Not easy thing to write them books. So I'm like, so I asked my husband, did he notice anything? He noticed the volcano and there's a couple other things. And of course, the solar eclipse has been absolutely hysterically funny. Everybody, 99.99% of the people on the planet, except for perhaps the Dalai Lama and me and my husband, the world was ending because it was, crisscrossing over here and there was this, that, and the other name. And really, did they read that book? I mean, the one they call the Bible. Did they read any books? You can't even trust just Google. You got to do that research yourself. But I'll give you a reminder real quick. When Yeshua was asked, what will be the signs of your return? And he said, no man knows the hour or the day, not even me, only the Father. So here they are up there going, oh, it's today at 3:00. I'm like, I know instantly that's not going to happen because you guys are trying to predict it. And no man knows the hour or the day. No man. Yeshua included. So he didn't have a clue. I've seen a picture of him. I don't know if anybody remembers that little girl died. She's probably 20 now. So this would have been some time ago, like either early 2000s or late 1990s. And she crossed over and she met Yeshua. Y'all call him Jesus. Learn some Yiddish. He's Jewish. I'm just saying. So hard. The Jews, they roll a lot of things like they're doing now a lot. It's like German. So I had the worst time with German because it always sounded like I was trying to honk up a loogie, as we used to say, which really wasn't hard in those days. I didn't want those myths. Yeah. So, the whole solar thing I thought was hysterically funny. So, read a book. I don't care what book. Read them all. Make an informed decision for yourself and your family. And as far as that goes, don't make the decision for your family either. They have the right to learn and pick for themselves just as you do. Yes, for God's sakes, allow them access to all of that. I hear my cat going nuts. And in these headphones, my husband bought me these headphones. You can actually hear the cat walk. So they're a great set of headphones. And I don't know what I've done without him standing behind me and my son and daughter-in-law standing with me. I would probably never have done one of these. And now I'm getting excited because I'm getting close to that 1,000 mark. And then it's going to shoot out. I'm going to be one of those, I don't know what you would call us. I'm just staying with hippie. It's just so much easier. It is the truth. We do, and we still do believe in love and peace, not war. We've seen 20 years of war. But during those 20 years, these past 20 years, by the way, we gave away at Bagram Airport. Somebody should put a fire under Biden. No, I mean literally tied to the stake fire. And I wanted to kind of view that. And anyway, there's Blackhawks landing. I do crack myself up too much, don't I? So there really wasn't much around. They had the IDF had pulled back out. I said yesterday had pulled back out of southern Gaza, leaving Rafah. They thought alone. Nah, come on, CIDF, wake up, anybody. Did you watch the news? There is no news. There's political talking heads. Yes, I'm aware of that. Don't go with American media. Yeah, that's all indoctrination and politics. Same thing, basically. Yeah, but when a person amasses a fortune of millions of dollars while they're senators, vice presidents, and presidents, there's a problem. They called it treason back in the day. I don't know what the hell they're calling it now. They buried Hunter's shit, that laptop, since 2016. You realize that's 8 freaking years. Do you know what they'd have done to one of us with that crap? They'd have beat us to death with it. We would never have come out of prison. They still haven't even asked this guy about this crap yet. Seriously, these guys laundered money through 6 American banks that went to 9 of the Biden family members. Okay. And this is from China, from the Ukraine, yada, yada. You get where I'm going with this? Again, I watched I actually, believe it or not, I make fun about that, but I watched the German news, and I shocked myself. I watch the Catholic channel with Gordon. I can't think of his last name to save myself, but I watched that as well. It's something I never would have watched it when I was young, and it's a religious show. But he's as good as Walter Cronkite almost, considering that it's not a political channel; it's a religious channel. But they're not pushing religion on you like they used to. Now they literally report the news, the world news, and I also, of course, um, check in on Israeli news because again, they're not hiding their anything. They're not talking political heads. Bipartisanship. Somebody needs to shove that word right up there. Yeah, you get where I'm going with that, don't you? There's. I'll go this way. Now, I've studied also since I'm a kid, besides the paranormal activity part, which, by the way, is increasing exponentially every year. I don't know if that's the equipment that we're using, if we got people, more people out there with some cojones. I know everybody knows that word, but it just sounds better Spanish. So some of them sound better. I got one for you. It says something about the German language. Straßenbahn Hauptstelle. Anybody show of hands? Know what that means? Anybody? It means street. Straßenbahn Hauptstelle. Used to see the signs are like just had to throw that one in there too. I didn't see a heck of a lot, and my husband had noticed a few things. Um, I'm fidgeting again. We've had a lot going on here at home. Again, my husband's just constant on his feet doing something. And I worry about him. We're not young chickens anymore. We can pretend, but you guys straighten us out when you add that in the comments. Like, aren't you 74? Yeah, get off. So it takes guts to get up here. I got to admit, ladies and gentlemen, it takes guts to get up. And this is one of one of the ones that we're watching, babysitting for. That was the one. I don't think it's a bobcat. I think it's Bengal. So I forget. So he's mixed with some major feline genes, and he didn't have a tail. But he's sweetheart, aren't you, baby? Yeah. And I've got her other one, which is she calls him Fur Baby and Snow Baby. And Snow Baby she adopted here from us. And it turned out we didn't know this. Her sister ended up climbing into my hand when I got a shelf up so that she could get out. She was trapped, but she had her eyelid sliced open, which was not releasing green pus and so forth. And she had stuffed in my hand, and I had promised my husband I said, no, what was I going to do? So, of course, I brought her in and I treated her, and my husband ran out and bought the milk. You would not believe. I mean, I know formulas cost a lot, but why does a kitten's formula cost more than 4 times what you pay for a child? I'm just saying, Now, you got to get it. See, she's not trained well, but now she's off into stuff she shouldn't be in. And we're going to have to say, hey, yep, there you go. There was a ball back there. If you can't hear it, I sure can. So I forget where I'm going because I get interrupted several times and my own brain kind of skips. Don't say it. Just don't do it. I did miss, it turns out I was very tired. I had to sleep in a couple of nights, and my husband was wonderful. And mind you, he had been out working and he shouldn't be, but his friends will call him because they know he's an ace mechanic and he doesn't, slit their throats, take a kidney, whatever, to fix their brake shoes, He doesn't say the part is $925 when it's $25. So there's always a call for my husband from friends, and we've been here over a decade. So he's always busy. He's got, not to mention the yard work and this, that, and the other. So then he gets ready to do the yard work and clears the schedule because we have a foot in the backyard, not in the front yard so much. No, no, no. But we have one foot. It comes up to my hip in like a week. So when he does decide, okay, I'm going to go out here I am driving my cross. I tend to fidget. I don't know why that is. I guess it's one of those nervous habits. But so today he was going to hit the lawn, and hit the lawn here is like over an acre. So it's not an easy task, even on a riding lawnmower, which thank God he has. But he's usually going up a tire, buying a new tire or something. Poor guy, he never gets a break when he goes out to do it. But so last night it rained so much. Anybody so hard? Anybody? Yeah. I was looking for a boat, had three. So I was ready. One to the cat. So yes, I am totally in a mood today. As far as I can see, there really wasn't a lot going on except the IDF had pulled out of southern Gaza. But then, of course, you had the idiots, and you just gotta love that money grubbing, treasonous crap that they're calling a president. And I'm not going to dignify that with a name. You gotta just love this sorry son. Yeah, it's hard for me not to swear because to describe him, really, I gotta swear. But we'll go with sugar and stuff as much as we can because my husband thinks I swear too much. Of course, I picked that up in the Army along with these. We didn't have wet core. I landed as the first company of women to train with the men, and our ranger. We had Vietnam Airborne Rangers for drills who did not play around. Let me tell you, if you looked like you walked like a girl, they came out and used to beat you in the head with the steel rod that you could clean your rifle with. Then they would just beat you in the helmet and about a helmet, so your ears would ring. But they did well by us women. They did well. We have fighter pilot women now, so I've been here too long. That's it's true that God does take the good and they go young. Otherwise, I sure as heck would not still be here. I got a 25-year-old grandson. I got a 12 or almost 12-year-old granddaughter. They don't need grandma. They don't see grandma. And they shouldn't at that age. I mean, I didn't. I was in Europe and I was in DC. I was all over the world, and I didn't have time very often. It might be 2 years, 3 years before they saw me. And that even got worse because it was like, oh, she's here and going with what they were doing. You just spent $12,000 to get there. So you're like, screw you. I go to the water park. Mm. I said that too about most people who save every dime they can so that they can pay for their funeral. Understandable. So that they can leave their children a house. Don't be stupid. And don't be stupid. They got a house. And if they don't, they should be paid for the house that they're supposed to inherit, which I did, and the brother inherited. So, hey, what the heck? I don't care. That was their house. And they got it because they adopted me and my sister. And we were fortunate to have someone who would adopt us. That we were not spring chickens. I was 9. Sister was going around 8. Not much difference in age. So that was that reason. And of course, my brother was also adopted, but he was their actual blood nephew. So, and they had had him since he was an infant. He was 13 when we were adopted. And we were foster children for about a year or so before then. And so, I give him kudos because I only had parents for like, what, 6, 7 years, something like that. Uh, but they were good parents as far as parents go. The mom stayed home. She didn't know what was going on. But she stayed home. Used to give us a note. Well, not us. My sister never. I didn't know where the heck she was ever. And they would yell at me, "Where's your sister?" I don't freaking know. I mean, the school's 6 miles. How am I supposed to? And most of the time, I mean, I left school early because I did all my electives and all that. So I didn't get off at 3. I got off at like at latest 1:30, and even the buses didn't run that early. So you'd walk home. So I never knew what she was doing, but I was there doing all the chores and all that mess. So yeah, it wasn't much of a surprise to me. I mean, I knew from that age that I was going to have to make life plans and I was going to have to start working on them right then because time goes fast. And how I knew this, I don't know. Between that and my paranormal interest, which the adopted father did not like at all. But the mother loved it. She was afraid of it, but she loved hearing the stories. So that was interesting. There weren't that many stories in the 70s and 80s, guys. Watch that show, The 70s. You'll see what I used to do with my life. It was about the same. And literally, my best friend and her brother, they had a pool in the basement. We all hung in the basement. There were two couches, sort of chairs. Yeah, we all hung there if they let us. Sometimes they would say, "Get your ass out and get on a bike." So they didn't come up with it all the time, but they kept popsicles in the freezer. We'll put it that way. So whoever wrote the '70s show is my age, and I think they were my neighbors. Because I would talk to my husband, and go, "Look, that's that pair of pants I have." I mean, it was hip huggers and hot pants. It was a good age. Muscle cars and guys with hair that was better than ours. Mm. Government made enough intrusions in our lives back in the '70s. Nowadays, it's not our lives. It's not just the government. It's everything, and everybody knows everything you do, when you do it, where you do it, why you do it. Yeah. So this is why I started what I call social Woodstock. I thought it'd be a good idea while they weren't, completely closing out free speech, which eventually will come about because that's where they're headed. I see a lot more, as they call it, Zionist. I don't get it. Zionist hatred. Hatred is hatred against another race. And we said never again. We said never again. World Wars One and Two weren't enough. Read, watch some of those reels. Look at some of those piles of bodies that were a mile high. Look at that, because that's what you're going to, and that's what you're consigning your kids to. It's what you're consigning your grandkids to. So it behooves you to get off your ass and find out what is going on this planet and start talking to each other. Now, I've got a perfect skin for that. If you want videos dropped, I'll drop them. I have no problem with that either. But I think we need to get up here as one-on-one and do those. Here I am in Augusta, of course, so most people aren't going to be able to come out here to do a one-on-one. But we can do live chat. We can do comment. And I'd like to see the channel grow. Not for me per se, although that's also a bonus. Just saying. I'm an honest woman. Yeah, most of the time. Most of the time. But yeah, let's do something. It was stolen from us. We had no choice. And our kids are doing the same. We were working two jobs, literally, and coming home, throwing on the shower, falling in bed. Before you could turn around, you're back up doing it again. And plus, I would be working two jobs, raising a child on my own, and going to college. I didn't sleep through the '80s. I was too busy. And DC in particular, because I ran that department. We invented the food stamp program. And I wanted to see all, of the tourist sites, Abraham Lincoln's tomb and all that. Now, I got one for y'all. Who knows what Arlington was before it became the National Cemetery for Veterans? Show of hands. Anybody? They don't teach you at school. Anybody? No? It was General Robert E. Lee's plantation. Yeah. And his son came back after the war, and he had enough money, and he wanted to buy the seat of his family's land back. And at that time, they already had over 15,000 service personnel buried there. And because that had happened, and they were still going to take the money and give him his land back, General Lee was already passed by them. And his son was Robert, just like Lincoln's son was Robert. And there's another story there, or you can look it up if you don't run away. But he said no, and he turned it down, and he said that, and he made it kind of so well that it would always remain as I think they actually called it the War Cemetery back then. I'm not positive. I get these things jumbled, but in any event, it's the National Veterans Cemetery, and I had to go to see Kennedy's grave and to see the watch change and all that. And I love that in London with the beef feathers and tall hats. You gotta love that. It's 114 out. You wonder why they're pissy. You checked it out. They had to tell them and they got this 14-foot fur hat on. They can't sweat if they want to. But it's really fun to watch them do it. Mm. Piece of advice to anybody going to England, London in particular, that's where you'll see them most, and see the changing of the guard. Don't go up to the, uh, don't go up to them when they're on horseback. I'm trying to find an easy way to say this. A, the horse will bite you or kick you, and you may not survive that, but they will reach down, slap the piss out of you. Don't touch their horse. Don't offer the horse nothing. Don't talk to the horse. And if you have to look at the horse, get behind the line. And they don't take no grief about that. Honey, they will reach around and slap you so stupid you will wake up in Italy. I mean, so I've seen it done. And with today's stuff, I think they probably got several videos of that. But you don't mess with this. Even the beef, we call them beef. Here's what they were called when they were first put together. And yeah, they don't take no grief. And they stare straight ahead until you get stupid. You touch one of them, you just got stupid. And stupid get ugly. I'm just saying. Don't touch them. If you want my advice, stand next to them politely and smile and take a picture. They don't mind that. But if you're getting up there and you're poking them and you're trying to ask questions, you will get slapped stupid, which may not be a fur piece, but still, it might sting a little bit. I know that hasn't changed any more than the guards who protect the pontiff, the Pope, as everybody knows it. They still wear, show of hands, anybody, I think I've asked this before. Yes, they still wear the uniform that Michelangelo designed in the 1400s. So in the 15th century, they're still wearing these in the 15th century, which is amazing. But if you really look at them, oh my God. Can you imagine to iron that crap? I know my army uniform is bad. Holy bastard, you better get down. Mm-hmm. Get down. I'm trying to stuff this all in my face at once. So I see I have about 25 minutes in, and I wasn't going to make this a long one. And again, you think you don't have a lot to talk about, but you get up and you go, wait a minute, there's this going on, and they're going on. So they haven't got the Bidens, although they know for a fact that 9 family members of the Bidens, that would be including, what's his name? Really? Come on, 45 years when he got elected, he had spent in D.C. What did he get done? Not a jackfooting thing. And he won the election. I don't believe there are that many stupid people in the U.S. Then I saw a thing of all things I had to say. And we all know that the borders are being overrun, especially Texas. It's always been that way. It's always been Texas. Texas has a huge border on Mexico, which leads to, of course, Honduras, so forth and so on. So they're coming from everywhere. For God's sakes, people from Nairobi were coming. I'm not kidding. You can't make this shit up. They were coming across the Rio Grande, and I'm like, oh my God! And they're being given, 5 months in a hotel. And I told my husband, I want a vacation. I'll be back. I'm going to go down to the Rio Grande. I'll walk across, get my knees wet, and take the hotel. It's ridiculous. They're stepping over veterans who are homeless to get into the hotel room that the government's given them for up to 6 months. That's when you want to slap the piss out of a bunch of people that call themselves Congress people. In my day, it would have been slap them once and slap them again and slap them one more time for fun. Yeah, it would have been that way in my generation. That's how Nixon got thrown out. And he's a Boy Scout compared to what these puppies have been doing. They've been laundering this money for like 30 years or more. And they've already traced all the money. They've traced the laundering. They've traced what banks. They've traced where it's come from. They've traced what Biden's family members were getting. This is millions of dollars, for God's sake. From China? Now you explain. I mean, really that bad, man. Why is Hunter Biden getting paid by the Communist Chinese Party, which it still is, by the way, just saying, But no. Let's go after Trump so he can't run in the state of Idaho. And nobody sees a problem with this? Come on. I mean, everybody. I don't care if you're all lives matter, if you're purple and pink polka dotted. You got kids. Y'all got grandkids. We hippies do. I'm sure a bunch of you do. I've seen kids out in the South married at 13 and a mama at 13 and a half. That wasn't that way where I grew up, but it wasn't much far different for each generation. I don't want this left to my grandchildren, and it will be. no matter what we talk about, no matter what we say. But I kind of did like the fact that we would have a record of saying something again. Now, Vietnam War stopped. Police people don't give it credit for that, but it was the American people that stopped. It was the hippies. They burned their draft cards. Mind you, Vietnam War, the draft is still in. I don't know if people realize that, but there is no draft. It's all volunteer and has been since Vietnam. But, they were burning their draft cards and going to Canada because Canada said they could. If you don't want to fight, don't fight. And, and the idea of is like, I think it should be really in the U.S. And that is once you finish high school, you'll do mandatory 2 years serving your country in your choice of which military, Navy, Army, or whatever. For one thing, you grow up. You grow up fast. By the time 6 weeks is up, you're 43. Believe me, I was 17. I walked out of boot camp about 43, 44. Well, I look so old now. But it gives them the discipline. They see the world. They understand that it's not just this block and a half and so forth. And I think that's necessary, especially the discipline and so forth. However, yes, I thought that was the way to go. And then my grandson went. And he did a great thing, and it was very difficult, but it was not like the military I went through or my husband went through. Although my husband and I trained at the same time as several of our friends. Fort Jackson, South Carolina was basically the main base for training, even after NAM. And they closed a lot of bases. Even the Clintons probably tried to close that one too. They closed over half of our bases. Somebody should have shot them years ago for treason. I don't know why they've waited. They're clearly and they know this that the FBI and then they swept it under the rug. They covered it up. The media helps to cover it up. Same thing with this weirdo that's supposed to be in the Oval Office, and they're all praise and kisses real royal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really? That's what you're gonna go with, huh? Okay. Here's your sign. No, you don't need a sign. Give me the sign back. You're too stupid. So. So we got these are why I say there are boxes being checked off. No, I am not a Bible thumping evangelistic minister. I think anybody that goes to church and sees this guy standing out there and he's reading, the Bible should get up and leave because they can read that for themselves and they don't have to buy him a plane. I do not understand evangelism. I do not understand how these ministers can ride around in these beautiful $1 billion planes and still call themselves people of God. It's kind of like Yeshua coming out to the temple steps and throwing the money changers out and saying, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God's." Now, what was their big mistake? Their mistake was they were taking this money and food because that's how they ate and that's how they got paid. And Yeshua knew this. So he became, of course, public enemy number one, like Bonnie and Clyde. And they knew they could find somebody that would give him. And they were also, by the way, Herod did not want Jesus. I better go with Jesus. He didn't want Jesus' life. And he had already been scourged and beat and so forth. But he had found no fault within this man. And this is the day when you can pick one of the three that we have here. We have a thief, another thief, and this man I have found no fault with. So, what man do you want to see crucified today? And when they picked Jesus, he said, I do not understand why you would pick a man who is blameless, who I have said is blameless, can find no fault in the man. Yet you would pick this good man over these two men who are self confessed bad men. He said, I cannot have his blood on my hands. And they brought him a bowl of water and a cloth and so forth. And he washed his hands of the blood of Jesus. He said, this isn't my decision, and I won't have his blood on my hands. So people should read that too, because they don't mention that. It's always Herod killed it. No, Herod did not. He did not kill him. The Sadducees did. The Sadducees are a Jewish sect of priests, like the high ones, although they got taken down a notch or two after that. Truthfully, I don't know how in the last 2,000 years that we have any Jew, let alone Israeli. I don't think they have that many Israelis. It's mainly Jewish. There's 12 tribes of Israel. Look it up. If not, tell me down here. I'll expound further on that. But there are 12 tribes. I throw usually a bone to everybody. They left a message where they went. And when they were captured by Nebuchadnezzar, he put them in his military. So they were scattered about the world, those 12 tribes. The Jewish nation had not been captured at the time that the Israel nation had been captured. So it's a little, you read that up. just check on that, Masada, all that. Yeah. So if you look for things, markers as to where these 12 tribes would have gone, if they were the military arm of the then power, they still would have been the military arm, even defeated, they still would have been put into another one, or they would have already spread out, started families, so forth and so on. But you would find supposedly, and this was a great book, and I can't think of the guy's name now, but you would find wayward signs that this tribe had come through here, and one of those is Denmark, which means the mark of Dan. And Dan is one of the missing tribes of Israel. So you can run with that one. If you got any more questions, pop them in. I'll throw in some advice as to where to find it because it's very long to espouse them. A lot of people have talked about the book of Ezekiel. It's another good read, it really is. Billy Carson, he's good. I subscribe to him. He's a little arrogant, but I'm just saying he's kind of a little arrogant. He has reason to be. He knows what he's talking about, and he did his own research. He didn't let somebody stand up there and say, this, and this happened. And I'm afraid that that's what's happened to my grandchildren. My children are busy working two jobs to take care of their kids having tablets and phones and all this stuff. It's an $80,000 more a month just to keep your kids on a tablet phone. Hell, their phones cost $2,000. My phone costs $42.50. It's a phone. It rings. I sometimes answer. It depends on my mood. I really do have to take a minute though and clear the messages because I'm bad about that. I don't really know many people. It's like my grandson says I don't like people. It's not true. I do like people. I don't trust people, so they don't come in my home because I don't trust you. And I learned that a couple of times the hard way. It still had to get knocked out, get back up, knocked out, get back up. Yeah, one of those. Stupid to the bone. They just, wow. So yeah, we go back to world events. Okay, so you've got earthquakes, you've got pestilence, you've got fire, you've got wars, rumors of wars, you've got uh, uh, the whole sex thing. I don't get it. The LBGTQURST thing, whatever the hell that is. So, you know, but I don't get all that. But it was spoken of that men and women would be confused about their gender, basically. Uh, that families would kill their kids would kill their parents. This is already occurring, has been for 30 years or more, so several decades. So this has all been piling up. It's just been piling up. Yellowstone is going through so many earthquakes right now that it's frightening. If Yellowstone blows, now they thought she had only one lava chamber. She's got three lava chambers. She hasn't exploded in, I think it's 66,000 years, somewhere along that line. But they have a record of how many times she has exploded and how long in between, and it's overdue. And then they found the two more chambers of magma, which is a mess. This thing is what is called an ELE, an end of life event. And this, I think, is also one of the reasons that these billionaires are building bunkers. I hope that helps them out a lot because if it is God and his son returning, going to be a problem. That was the other thing I was touching on was the little girl that had crossed over and died. She came back to life. She was, I think, only a toddler, maybe 4 or 5 years old. You have to look it up. But she paints, and that's your way in. It's the girl who paints the afterlife, or the girl who painted Jesus. Her first painting, and she had to stand on a ladder. And these are size of walls. These are not, I mean, this is the size of a wall. And she painted Jesus, and I swear to God, he could have walked right off that wall. I still see that face, and when I think of Yeshua, that's who I see. Auburn hair, sparkling green eyes, full of love, and waiting for you. I can't explain it any other way, and I'm not trying to convert anybody. Do your own research, but seeing that picture, surprised me because, yeah, I kind of sort of believed in it, but I also believed that he was a master, and I still do. But to see this picture, there's no doubt in your mind now that he was a real figure, that he really did exist, that he was really killed, and so forth and so on. As for the Jews, like I said, I don't know how there's even two living there. You got the 12 tribes they've been looking for, and they found them. So they're doing the DNA thing. And many of us, like me, now know that even though I was adopted, the family must have migrated here from the UK because I'm UK. But when you say the UK, people think, oh, that's the big, no, it really isn't. It's just the United Kingdom, and they had that because in their day, the sun never fell, or I should say, night had never fallen on any of their territories. It was always sunny somewhere. But they loved, down in India and Africa. Yeah, they were busy. So they did tone that down. So yeah, but for now, basically, and even then, you had the Irish potato famine. So you had a lot of Irish people coming over, and were not treated very well. Nothing like these immigrants coming over the southern border. No, no, these people had to starve in the streets or whatever they could do. Find hundreds of them in one room just to get on their feet. Same with the Jews, I say the Jews because again they have 12 tribes: the Levites, the Benjamins, the Dans. I can quote them all, but you look it up. Don't go to church and have somebody read shit to you off a Bible while they pass the plate. If you do that, you're just doing the same thing that you were warned not to do. That there would be many false prophets and there would be many false churches. They didn't say, I should say, Jesus did not say, but you can find out the real one this way. They didn't give us that information, and they didn't give us the information as to how to tell that any religion was the false one. So read the Bible yourself. I advise you to skip most of Genesis to find out who begat, who begat, who begat death. That's just going to put you to sleep. So if you're an insomniac, read that. The rest of it, however, you can scan it. You can look up certain things that you want to know. Psalms is a really good place to start. You don't have to start at Genesis. Everyone knows Genesis. Everybody's been to Sunday school. They kind of didn't mess with that so much. But yeah, do your own work. Do your own research. Look at the Nag Hammadi scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls. What was the Geneva Bible? What was it? Huh? Anybody? What's the King James Bible? Anybody? Yeah, that's the one you got now. Yeah. Who helped them put that together? Anybody? I feel sorry for you. I'll tell you. Charlemagne. Emperor Charlemagne. Oh, Roman Emperor Charlemagne. He looked at it and he said, get rid of these 15 books. We want them all to have the same thing. And that's what they did. I might have been 19, I can't remember, which is why the Vatican has 50 odd miles of tunnels underneath holding, well, everything, including some messages from Abraham Lincoln. I mean, if it was in the world, they got it. And truthfully, I don't believe for a second that Alexander burned down the library of Alexander. It's kind of like shooting himself in the foot. I don't believe that. But knowledge was always burned way right up to Hitler. I actually saw a book burning on. It was on CBN News. That's the news channel. That's the religious channel, but they're a great news channel. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, "Oh my God, it's happening again!" We said, "Never again, never again, never, 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 never." What apart? I don't understand what apart you not get about that word "never." Because if you don't understand what the word never means, contact me. Throw it in the comments. I'll explain it to you in detail. Okay? Just saying. Never means never. It wasn't just the Jewish people who were, well, murdered horrendously, slaughtered. That none of those adjectives really explain it. But at the same time, think how many other people died. Now, they don't put that out either. They know, and they kept great records. The Germans kept great records. They knew the address these people came from, how old they were, who their parents were, and all that was typed up and kept. So at least the family members kind of knew when the war was over. The paperwork could tell them your grandparents and your parents arrived at Auschwitz and Baden and so forth, and were killed on September 7th. I mean, it was amazing. Some of them somehow managed their Swiss bank booklets, their deposits, because they were frightened that because they kept coming and taking more money, wouldn't let them work, took the shops out. Kristallnacht was the start of that, basically. They'd already killed off all the people in the insane asylums and all that. They'd already done all that. They wanted the Jews because they wanted their money. They wanted their power. They didn't get it, but they came pretty close. But I say again, they have extensive records. And the other thing people don't connect that with is eugenics. And eugenics was a marching movement that started in, of all places, America. America. Americans have, we are wading in blood past our head. We we committed genocide on not one tribe, but hundreds of tribes between here and Canada until Canada could get it together and literally say, you can't do this anymore. If you come into Canada, we're at war. Aaron Burr wanted to, and Aaron Burr killed Andrew Jackson, by the way, who was at that time, he was setting up the National Bank. It's a good book, read it. And Aaron Burr decided he wanted to be the president of Mexico and make it part of America or annex it, and then he could run that. It didn't turn out well for him. At the time, it was very unusual, but the vote had voted in 2 vice presidents. And guess who those were? Yeah, that's right. It was Andrew Jackson and Aaron Burr. And they had the honor thing. So it was 10 paces, killed Jackson. He killed him. Well, the country wasn't happy with that. So he had to skedaddle to France. So he sent for his daughter. Wife had passed. The daughter was coming to him. Her ship was taken by pirates, and no one knows whatever happened to her. I'm thinking probably nothing good. So he was left a broken and lonely man because his hubris wanted him to go out and run the world. And again, I don't get that. I don't even want to get up and do the dishes. These people are up for 4 or 5 hours before they can go to the bathroom. I'm just saying, it's nuts. It's really nuts. You've got all kinds of this stuff going on. And yeah, if you think that this is the end of the world, look at it yourself. Don't wait for these preachers to tell you. I don't know. I use the word preachers because that's all they're doing. And they have no idea what they're talking about. And none of them. None. They don't have word. I know. I've argued with cardinals, bishops, you name it. This is also why a senator friend of mine used to say, you got to live, you're going to get shot. I don't care who you are. You put your pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. Mm. My husband was sweet and got me some cigarillos yesterday, so I'm only trying to do these a little bit at a time. But they're hard to keep. They're very hard to keep going, which is the other reason I like them, besides the mess I'm making. So I got through most of this. I see coming up about the end of this. Mm. Those of you who joined me last night, again, I can't do this without you guys. I don't want to do it without you guys. I want you guys up here. I want all of us screaming our fool heads off. Who the hell are you? Why are you doing that? I don't care if they put senator in front of their name. I don't care if they put bathroom in front of their name. If they're treasonous bimbos, then they need to be removed. And I got news for you. The head treasonist is the one that is managing somehow. And mind you, this is not just a political thing. This is the legal system and the media system actually taking one man's life apart and stealing all of his money. So never tell me again, this is something I disagree with too, that Americans are free. Yeah, well, yeah, we're free to do what the hell we're told. And if we don't do what the hell we're told, that freedom's gone. I mean, that freedom to work 80-hour weeks and bring home 30-hour pay and then get taxed a second time on that. I also love the fact that they put a tax on a second time for death. I want to deliver that one personally. Yeah. It's another reason why there's no point in leaving it to your kids. The kids have to spend 5 times more to inherit it than you did to buy it. I know because it happened to my brother, and this was say 20 years ago. He had to get a loan to buy the house that Dad gave him, which was paid off 5, 10 years prior to that. Yeah. So this has been going on for 30, 40 years at least. Um, and the other thing I think a lot of people think they don't get the fact that Operation Paperclip at the end of World War II was they brought about 3,000 Nazis over here in Alabama to start the space program. So these people, they were purged of their records. They cut their hair American. They tried to get rid of their accents. And guess who was top of that? Yeah. Anybody? Werner von Braun. Yeah, he was good. Yeah. He was an expert in rockets, and he was good at that. He managed to hit London many times. Yeah, he was really good at that. That's the same system that they were using to go and launch the shuttle. Why did they stop the shuttle? I don't know. I heard them testifying before Congress. Like I said, I'll pop in and out just to see. I did that when I was there. You can go in and watch. And they're asking them, so what is NASA doing next? What are you doing? You got rid of the shuttle. You're spending $1 million per astronaut to take them up and take them down. And I do mean both ways. So it's a couple of million per astronaut. So what the hell are you doing? At least somebody had the cojones to ask. And they were like, so they did the double speak around that for a while. You should throw popcorn at them. I mean, I had so much fun in there. It's amazing I wasn't shot in the back or arrested or some shit. But then again, I had a high clearance and I had, well, I wasn't afraid of them. You got to be afraid of them now. It would behoove you to be afraid of them. I mean, to be very afraid of them. Do whatever they tell you to do and do it right then. Don't argue, because you can still go under the umbrella of we're a free country if you want to, but that shit has been long gone. Before we were barely a country, that was gone. Read some history. I love history, and you find out where you were wrong, what happened here and there, and so forth. I caught another one. I'm seeing coming down on time. Another great one is to investigate Admiral Byrd's incursion into Antarctica in 1947. You need to look that up and check that out because the pyramids are now showing up through the ice. My question, I've been seeing the ice calf. They say calf just like a cow calf's when an ice sheet comes down off of this. This is 3 miles of ice, okay? And these glaciers have this capping thing going. This is not a normal event. This is not how many are supposed to be going per. And this is what happened before when the ice melted, you had the flood. So, I'm not sure who all was involved in that. What I do know is that there's a lot of megalithic sites, including the Anasazi. Now, it's not megalithic, the Anasazi, but it's laid out perfectly for the Pleiades system to be seen as above, so below. The Pleiades system, I think most people would know them as the Seven Sisters, whereas Egypt, as above, so below, was Leo, and they built it for Orion. So that all lines up. But these places weren't. This was not a freaking tomb. Why do you think they had the Valley of the Kings tombs, hit them, kill everybody that was there, including the poor horses with the. Anyway, they did not dress up this 5,000-foot pyramid in white with gold on the top to say, "Hi, I'm the dead pharaoh." They did not. They weren't stupid. They did want to take that crap with them. I mean, curses on the doors and so forth and so forth. Look it up. Again, if you don't want to look it up or you don't find it, hit me in the comments. I'll do my darndest to get back to you. I've got to spend time today answering yesterday, so I'm already getting behind, which is surprising to me. I didn't realize, I got to admit, I didn't realize how fast time goes or how much I jump from topic to topic. So if you've got anything you want to talk about and I get off topic, hit the chat line and say, hey, go back to this one. Because so you just try to extrapolate something from what I said that you can look up and then talk to me about. I don't care what it is. As again, I can't do this without you guys. We still have a channel. I do see my algorithms rising, which has got me dancing in the aisle, which is not a pretty sight at all. So, and my husband is very long suffering and he's very good to me about like I said, pretty much taking over his bar. He put all the equipment together for me, my son as well. They bought all the equipment that I would need to even broadcast and do interviews. So I have the two systems, and I'm having the time of my life. I mean, it's amazing. I'm not shooting for those 3 million because I'm this or that. I'm shooting for Woodstock. I'm shooting for a forum that we can all talk about, that we can be safe in, and that maybe we can leave some mark behind us because again the hippies did just what every generation does. As teenagers we were smart, Alex, you know, up until we had to go to work. So right now we're retired, most of us, although like I say, my husband's never, I say he's retired, he's not, he's always got something. So do I in most cases. Even the housework, I'm ready to just throw in the torch and just get a nursing home room. I mean, it's, they can vacuum it. But baby put me down where it's florist, and I managed to get the whole house done yesterday. It took me from like, I think it was 10:30 when I got off line. So I finished by 3:30. That's a long day. So everybody out there, just tickle that bell, subscribe. It's free. Okay, hit the like. Any of those three helps out the algorithms, gives me my 1,000. Then we can go on from there. I have this great idea for the old hippie line to come back. So that, and I've been reaching out to a few suppliers to see what I would need to do. In order to make money, you got to spend money. That's true too. But I didn't really want to spend my own money. And I hear him coming now, so he must be ready and biting it too. So I better get going so that he can get on with his day. So trying to give you some more chance down there. The rest of you, I will catch up. Apparently, he's leaving as well. So let me end this. Guys, get back to me. Toodles.